Today I am taking you through the 10 cartoons that defined Saturday mornings in the 90s. And I am going to tell you not just what they were, but why they hit the way they did, and why that feeling is gone in a way that has nothing to do with the cartoons themselves. Your eyes opened on their own. No alarm. Your body already knew what day it was. Saturday. You slid out of bed in whatever you slept in and moved through the house without making a sound, past your parents' bedroom, because waking them up meant chores, into the kitchen, the biggest bowl you could find, filled to the edge with something that was basically candy pretending to be cereal. You parked yourself on the carpet in front of the television, not the couch, the floor, because the floor felt right. There was no pause, no rewind, no algorithm picking the next thing for you. If you were late, you walked in on the middle of an episode. If you left for the bathroom at the wrong moment, that scene was gone forever. You memorized the schedule. The television guide from the newspaper was your Bible. Here is the thing nobody talks about. The shows were not great because of what they were. They were great because of what they were not. They were not available anytime. They were not pausable. They were not yours to keep. You had one shot per week, and that made every single second count more than it deserved to. If you were on that floor with that bowl, stay with me. Number 10. Ed and Eddy, 1999. 3 kids in a cul-de-sac, spending every day of summer vacation trying to con the neighborhood out of loose change. Every plan failed, every time, in the most spectacular way possible. No adults who mattered, no superpowers, just kids outside on a long summer day with nothing but time and bad ideas. What you did not realize at the time was that the show was doing something radical. It gave children a world that ran entirely on their own logic. The kind of world you actually lived in when school was out and the street was yours until dinner. Ed and Eddy ran for 10 years and became the longest-running original Cartoon Network series ever made. Nobody expected that from 3 kids and a bag of candy. You can stream it now, but it does not feel the same watched alone on a Tuesday afternoon. It was built for Saturday morning chaos, and that is the only context where it fully makes sense. Number 9, Pinky and the Brain, 1995. 2 lab mice, 1 plan, 0 success rate. Every single week you sat down with your cereal and you already knew exactly how it was going to end. And you watched anyway, every time. 2 lines defined an entire generation. What are we going to do tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. The show understood something that most writers never figure out. The best joke is one you can tell the same way every single week, and it lands harder every time because the audience is in on it. Pinky and the Brain was not a cartoon about 2 mice. It was a cartoon about the joy of trying and failing in front of people who love you for it. Kids across America recited those 2 lines on Monday morning in every school hallway in the country. That is a harder thing to achieve than it looks, and almost nobody has pulled it off since. Number 8, Recess, 1997. Every school in America had the same hierarchy on the playground. The popular kids owned the basketball court. The quiet kids had their corner. The rules were unwritten, but everybody knew them. Recess was the first show that put that world on television and named it for what it was. TJ Detweiler and his friends were just trying to get through the school day and make it to that bell. The show named something every child already lived but had never seen reflected back at them. You watched it on a Saturday morning and then walked out to your own playground on Monday and saw the same thing playing out in real life. The characters felt real in a way that most cartoon characters do not. Not because they had superpowers or fought villains, because they had to deal with each other. And that is genuinely hard. Number 7, Hey Arnold, 1996. Picture a city neighborhood, brick buildings, metal fire escapes, corner stores, kids playing stickball in the street. That was the world Hey Arnold lived in, and it looked more like the real world than almost anything else on television at the time. Hey Arnold treated children like people who had actual feelings and inner lives. It showed kids in difficult home situations figuring out how to keep going anyway. There was a bully who was secretly more broken than anyone she terrorized. An employee who tried to do the right thing even when nobody was watching. Most cartoons of that era gave you a fantasy world and asked you to escape into it. Hey Arnold gave you the world you already lived in and made it worth watching. Number 6, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, 1998. Every kid who ever watched Saturday morning cartoons knew the Scooby-Doo formula. Someone was up to something, a mask came off at the end, and the monster was never real. You had seen it 100 times. You could predict it before it happened. Then Zombie Island came along and the monsters were real. The formula that an entire generation had memorized in living rooms across America did not apply anymore. The rules changed, and that changed everything. An audience that knows the rules is an audience you can actually scare. Most people watch this on a Saturday afternoon, curled up on the couch, not expecting anything different from what they had always seen. They got something genuinely brave instead. It is still one of the best animated films the 90s produced. We are halfway through the list. Tell me in the comments which show has hit hardest so far. Subscribe if you have not already, because the top 5 is where this gets serious. Number 5, Gargoyles, 1994. Disney made a children's show with the kind of storytelling you expected from a serious novel, not a Saturday morning television block. Real moral complexity, villains with actual motivations, a main character trying to find his place in a world that had moved on without him. Think of any major American city at night, steel and glass and shadows, and that was the world this show lived in. Gargoyles was canceled by new Disney executives who decided it was too dark for children. The fans have not forgiven that decision in 30 years, and they are right not to. What we lost when Gargoyles was canceled is not a cartoon. It is the version of animated television that could have existed if one executive meeting had gone differently. Number 4, Batman the Animated Series, 1992. Think of a city at night, rain on cobblestones, jazz coming out of a club on a dark street, steam rising from a grate in the pavement. That was the visual world Batman, the animated series built with a budget that had no right to exist on Tuesday afternoon television. The writers refused to write down to children. Every episode assumed the audience was intelligent enough to follow complexity, feel moral weight, and sit with ambiguity. Most children's television in that era made the opposite assumption. Kids who sat on the floor with their cereal on Saturday morning watching the show were being treated like adults. Most of them did not realize it at the time. They do now. Number 3, Animaniacs, 1993. Saturday mornings in the 90s were a room with 2 people in it, a child on the floor and a parent on the couch behind them. Most shows wrote for one of them and ignored the other. Animaniacs wrote for both at the same time and did not compromise either one. The jokes on the surface were fast enough to keep the kids engaged. The cultural references and satire underneath were sharp enough to make the adults put down their coffee and actually watch. Steven Spielberg produced it, and the writers knew exactly who was in the room. When you remove a show like Animaniacs from circulation, you are not just removing content. You are removing the proof that animation for children and animation for adults do not have to be different things. We have not seen it done as well since. Number 2, Dexter's Laboratory, 1996. Every kid who ever had a bedroom with a lock on the door and a project nobody else was allowed to see understood Dexter immediately. A secret space behind the bookshelf. A world built entirely on your own terms. That fantasy lived in living rooms and bedrooms across America every Saturday morning. Genndy Tartakovsky was in his 20s when he made this, and he redefined what animation on television could look like. The visual style was tight, fast, and graphically bold in a way that television had not seen before. Every frame was a decision. Nothing was accidental. When Tartakovsky left the show, it was never the same. Dexter's Laboratory is the clearest proof in 90s animation that a show is its creator. When the creator leaves, something irreplaceable leaves with them. Number 1, Powerpuff Girls, 1998. 3 girls who saved their city every single night before bedtime. Craig McCracken made a show about girls who were heroes without it ever being a big deal that they were girls. In toy stores across America, you started seeing the Powerpuff Girls on lunchboxes, backpacks, and bedroom walls next to all the shows that had always been there. That was new, and it mattered more than most people said at the time. The episodes were short, precise, and perfectly timed, without a single wasted second. The show had a villain who was funny and genuinely threatening at the same time, which is one of the hardest combinations to pull off in any medium. 30 years later, the Powerpuff Girls is still held up as one of the best animated series ever made. Not one of the best 90s shows. One of the best ever. That is not nostalgia. That is just accurate. You could not pause it. You could not rewind it. You could not scroll to something better. What was on was what you had, and you gave it everything you had in return. Streaming gives you every show ever made, available at any moment of any day. It gives you convenience, choice, and control. It does not give you the feeling of sitting on that floor, knowing this is the one shot you get this week. That feeling was never about the cartoons. It was about the scarcity. The last Saturday morning cartoon block on broadcast television aired on September 27th, 2014. By then, most people had already moved on. But if you were on that floor before that, you already know. Nothing since has felt the same, and nothing will. Not because the shows were better, because you cannot manufacture the conditions that made them matter. Tell me in the comments which show from this list you missed the most, and tell me which show should have been on this list but was not. Subscribe for more 90s content and hit the bell so you do not miss the next one.